on down, everybody. Every,
Welcome, everybody.
everybody's favorite subject, especially this year. Shoot, Peggy, this might be our last FAFSA presentation of
Yeah, I think it actually might be.
a little bit here. How about
We've
that?
done a bunch of them this year.
We'll have to make it our best. We'll certainly do our best. Hopefully everybody's hanging in there. Give us one more minute. Why don't you tell us, are you a newbie? Are you new to Peg and I in College Aid Pro, or are you a groupie? Are you a regular? Where are you at in the country? Graduating class of the student? Anything you're willing to share. Those are the three we always usually like to know. Have you seen us before? Have you you're brand new to us and graduating student of the or sorry, graduating high school graduating class of the student.
We got a groupie. Yeah, you can put it in the chat. See, people are used to us saying, put everything in the Q&A. This you can put in the chat if you want, but I'm looking in the Q&A.
Looks like well, mostly regulars and groupies. Okay, a couple new ones. It's like, geez, what are these? This guy's got a real they got a real pain threshold tuning in for another FAFSA webinar here.
Yeah, well, this one, yeah, there'll be some repeating, but there is definitely new stuff around the glitches, kind of getting in the weeds on what could be more exciting than technological glitches.
Yeah, this is, I mean, everybody's going to show up for that. All right. Well, thank you for the early kind of participation here. Please keep it going. Those of you that know us a little bit know we like to keep it as interactive as possible, especially with subject matter such as this. We could use all the help we can get here. My name is Matt Carpenter. I'm one of the founders at College Aid Pro. I've been doing this for 20 years. Class 2024, that'll be the 19th class that I've helped you all move into the dorm, and so we've already started on the class 2025, which is amazing. That'll be 20 years, and I'm very grateful for that. We have a very, I think, important job, right? This is such a huge part of your lives right now, I think, and we know just kind of what's at stake, and we understand the magnitude and kind of all the pressure that comes with it, right? And something we say every day, no kidding, you're freaked out. It's your kids and your money. I'd be worried about you if you weren't a little um, worked up about this whole thing, right? So that's where we really take pride in our role in trying to just educate you and be that kind of North Star to say, guys, this is the right way to do this. And we'll do everything we can to help you tonight. We won't get to every question. It's just impossible between the two of us, but we'll talk about how we can help you if we don't, if you don't leave here like, all right, I got everything under control here. So anyways, you're in very good hands. Glad you showed up. Please continue the participation. This is my partner in crime, the fairy godmother of financial aid herself, Peggy Keough, who's I'm in the Boston area. Peg is out there, East Coast gal by her roots and her personality.
Jersey
Still there, yeah,
specifically.
Jersey specifically, still very much there, but currently a Seattle resident. So, Peggy, I'll let you say hi and we can get cooking.
Yeah. So, background in the financial industry, all you groupies know all this stuff. I have twins, so I've been through this. They're out of college, so I'm here to tell you I didn't have this kind of stuff. I didn't have this FAFSA stuff, but it's all good. You'll get through it. And the good thing about this FAFSA stuff is none of it's your fault for the most part. And we're going to give you little, hey, if this doesn't match, then that's on you. You're going to get an error. But a lot of the errors they're just tech issues, right? It's not on you. And so you just got to wait. We'll give you all the tips so that you can hopefully, you can sleep at night. So you have somebody else who said twins for FAFSA is challenging. Well, you have to do two FAFSAs, but they're pretty similar except for your child. And you do have to do two and all that sort of stuff. And if you are new, you wouldn't know this, but please, because I see people already putting stuff in the Q&A, please put it, I mean, in the chat, please put it, any questions in the Q&A. We'll do our best to hit as many as we can. As Matt said, we probably won't get to all of them, but we'll do our best. If you want to be anonymous, you can be in the Q&A. So please put them there because that's where we're going to be looking. So if you did put something in the chat, just copy it and paste it in a Q&A. So we'll have one place to watch. So I will share my screen now so we can get rolling. And there will be a recording. We're recording this. We will send out the recording tomorrow. So don't worry about that. If you want your spouse to watch it or whoever, or if you just want to, if you're worried you missed something, you can watch it again tomorrow. So keep that in mind. We're all about relieving stress here. So I'll actually, this is supposed to be your slide, so I'm not going to be jump the gun as usual. I'll let you take
Right,
over.
well, we're going a little out of order tonight. So, I mean, so for those of you that are new and for those of you that have been with us before, you hear us say it every time, and we do our very best to walk the walk. And that's, we're trying to end the student debt crisis. So we have quite a lofty goal, but this is how it happens. It happens by making good decisions at this stage and even earlier and kind of throughout at these stages of the process is how we're going to do that. So that's what we're about as a company. That's what why we do everything that we do. So hopefully that resonates. And again, hopefully we can help with that tonight. The next, I think if you could, Peggy, if you go to the next slide here, you guys got, oh, there's, how could I forget about us? There's the beauties. But this next slide here, you got an email today encouraging you to create your CAP accounts. If you haven't already, take a minute to do it right now, because obviously the focus tonight is on the FAFSA. But every presentation we give, regardless of how focused it is, we're always talking about the whole the whole puzzle here, right? Not just the one piece that is the FAFSA. And that's exactly what we'll do tonight. But this is going to help you do a few things instantaneously. What is your SAI going to be, not just from the FAFSA, but from the CSS profile? What are these colleges actually going to cost you? Are they going to give you scholarships? How much, right? And then we'll spend a minute tonight talking about private scholarships. So if you haven't created your account, do it right now, because we'll be kind of bouncing in and out of there a little bit tonight. Okay, so as far as again the task at hand, and again, let's just kind of remind people, and we've already got some questions here, and we always do. Why should I even submit this form? What if I'm not going to be eligible for RAID? We firmly recommend that everybody completes and submits the FAFSA for a bunch of reasons, but here are a few of the headlines, right? Number one, the biggest reason not the most financial aid and scholarships gets left on the table each year is because people don't submit the applications. They self-select out. They make incorrect assumptions that they're not going to get anything, or they assume if I'm just applying for scholarships, okay, I'm not going to do the FAFSA because that has nothing to do with scholarships. It depends on the college, right? We always use NYU as an example. Very popular school, very expensive school. But if you don't at least complete and submit the FAFSA and the CSS profile, your kid is not considered for merit-based scholarships, regardless of your financial situation, regardless of how gifted they are as an applicant. And we're going to, again, talk about tonight, like we usually do for a little bit, what if I want to go back to a college and get more money, right? What if something weird happened or not, and I want to try to get some more? That's appealing. Just about every single college is going to say, we won't even listen to your case until you've completed or submitted a FAFSA. And then the last one here are these federal direct student loans. Even if I'm a billionaire, if I submit the FAFSA, my student can borrow up to $27,000 over the course of 4 years through this federal direct student loan. If you want your kids to have any skin in the game, or you need them to, this is where they're going to start. There's not a better option. If you don't need them to, if you're a family that has a lot of resources and you don't want your kid to borrow, have them take this out, jump through the hoops, pay it off instantaneously. Now they graduate as seniors, from college with established credit, right? 22-year-olds with established credit. So there's some actual X's and O's of reasons why. The takeaway is, guys, complete and submit these forms.
All right. Okay. Now I'm on to my part. Just interrupt me, Matt, because there are some good questions in here that I'm going to hit. But if you see ones coming in, then
you know what? Let me
definitely
just, yeah, before
interrupt
I
me.
even kick it over to you, I'm seeing one common theme or a few of them, right? Nobody's FAFSA is processed yet. The earliest information we have, or that's public, is it's going to be late January.
And
So
actually, let me interrupt you because somebody wrote in the Q&A and said, I was talking to the FAFSA people and they told him end of February.
wow,
So
but that's
that's, you
look
know
at look.
what? Thank you for putting that in because you're helping us because we knew it probably wasn't going to happen,
Yeah,
but I'm
but
a little shocked that it's that much
well,
time.
Peg. Let's not. We also know who knows who was on the other end of that phone, and it could have been
Right.
a mistake.
And
Like
we
we
don't
know.
encourage you to call the FAFSA line for a lot of reasons because you don't
So
always get the
the
best help.
point is, guys, is that nobody's FAFSA is processed. We can't make corrections, confirm our SAI, go in there to add a signature, right? Things like this until it's processed. There is nothing we can do at the moment. Okay, and I think safe money is probably at least going to be a couple more weeks. So, again, if you're one of those families that can't get back in there to do things, you're one of quite literally millions, and there's nothing we can do at this moment outside of sitting tight. But you will be able to make those corrections and updates, etc. once that happens, and it will happen. We just don't know exactly when. Neither do they.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're all done and you got the confirmation, but you're just anxious for it to process, just sit tight. If you're involved in one of their glitches, you can always log back in, and that's what I'm going to say later to see if it's fixed and you can go do what they're telling you you didn't do, but they're stopping you from doing it, like signing or something. But if you're done, and you've got a SAI, you just have to wait. And maybe that person's right, but I'm a little surprised they would tell a parent that when it hasn't really been announced. So, and that's a big delay. So, okay. So, yeah, a lot of you are in this process, so you have your FSA IDs. If you do not, you need to do this right after the webinar. The student needs to get one, absolutely for sure, and at least one parent. I'm going to talk about it in a minute because there are questions that have already hit up. We're divorced or we're both remarried. Who needs to do what? The person that wrote that, I will address all of that in a couple minutes. So stay tuned, but definitely go do that. You want to go to the studentaid.gov site, and I recommend that you take a picture or exactly how you put your name in there, capture it and keep it on your phone and put it in a special folder in your photos, because I will talk about this in a minute, but you have to replicate exactly how you created your FSA ID when you get in your child's FAFSA with them, or else you're going to get error messages. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But go ahead and do this if you haven't. The Social Security Administration has to verify your date of birth and your social, and that can take a few days. And if it's not done, that can be an issue with submitting. So do that tonight if you haven't done it. That's the first step. So the FAFSA is in what they're calling a soft launch. It should be available all the time. I haven't, all the times I've been in there, I haven't had it not be live like when it first went live. Most people can get in there, but as all you guys are sharing, there are glitches. There's also variations. Some people have asset questions, some people don't. Some people have to enter their income. I'll talk about that in a minute. Some people don't. Most people don't. So, it might not be exactly the same as your sister or your neighbors. Just keep that in mind. And when you get in there, if you do get a glitch and an error message and it makes no sense to you, you can always try and go back in, later in the day or the next day, but really don't stress about it. I'm going to talk about at the end how you can kind of cover your what, so you can prove that you were in there and you were doing the right thing before a deadline hits up. So this is the flow of the FAFSA. So what we recommend you doing, and I didn't go too fast, did I? No. Okay. This is what we recommend. And if you've already done it, and I notice this is FSA's graphic, they misspelled signature. So just going on record, that wasn't me. I copied this image. I just noticed that after all the times. This is part of the problem everybody's having with the FAFSA, lack of detail. So I'm just trying to have a little joke there. So this is what we recommend you do. If you're already in there and you didn't do it, don't worry about it. Okay, it is what it is. But we've found through the thousands of these that we've done with families that this is the best flow. The student will go in, and I'm going to show you the, well, I don't know if I'm going into this much detail tonight because we're focusing on the glitches, but you go to FAFSA.gov, the student logs in, your child logs in with their FSA ID and password. There's going to be a personal circumstances section, pretty self-explanatory. Then an invite's going to come up. I'm going to talk through this in a minute because this can be a place where people make errors. Go ahead and put the parent in there that needs to be invited. This could vary from family to family. I'll talk about it in a minute, but that information should perfectly match how that parent set up their FSA ID. Hit send invite and keep going in the FAFSA. Don't go over and see if you got an invite. Don't worry about that. Finish the student FAFSA, the demographics, the financials, and put in all the colleges and have your child sign. Be done with that. Then go over, get your email, click on the button in the email. That'll take you into not your child's FAFSA. You're going to be in your part of the FAFSA that will be part of their, it's really the student's FAFSA. You're just a contributor as a parent. And we'll talk about what a contributor is. You go through your very quick parts and you sign, and then the FAFSA is done. The student's FAFSA is done. That's the flow that we recommend. So what is a contributor? So some people that were writing in that they're divorced and who should do what, this is what you really want to listen to. That, as I said, student is always a contributor and parent or parents are going to be the contributors. A contributor just means you are contributing your data to your child's FAFSA. It does not mean you're on the hook to pay for college, even a penny, okay? It's a weird word that they chose, but it is what it is. You're contributing and you're consenting for your financial tax information to be pulled in to your part of the FAFSA, which is part of your child's FAFSA. So let's look at the bullets below. I'm going to skip to the third bullet. So I'm going to start with if you're married and in the prior year. So if you don't know what that means, that's the year you're reporting on for income on the FAFSA. So if you're class of 2024, all the questions you've noticed are about 2022. That's the year you're going to be reporting on. So if your tax filing status, you were happily married in 2022 and you're still happily married, one parent is a contributor because that parent's going to consent for both parents to move the data from their joint tax return into the FAFSA. So it makes sense when we know why you're a contributor. Let's go back up to the first bullet. If you're married, you're remarried, or you're unmarried living together, because in the financial aid world, you're married if you're unmarried living together. You're in the same address, and you didn't file married filing jointly, then both parents are contributors because they have separate tax returns. So they both have to consent for their information to be shared. If parents are married, but they filed married filing separately, which some parents do for certain reasons, they're both contributors again. What that means is when you're a contributor, you need an FSA ID and password, like I talked about at the beginning. So keep that in mind. You both need to get them, okay? Because you have two separate tax returns and you need to consent. So it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Now look at the last bullet. If you are a separated family or one of the questions that we had, and both parents, both biological parents are remarried, only one of the biological parents, one of them is considered a custodial parent. And I'm going to talk about that on the next slide, so I will define it. But whoever is the custodial parent, that family is they're going to be the contributors. So if you're divorced and remarried and you filed married filing jointly with your current spouse, your second spouse, in 2022, it's just like the third bullet. You were married filing jointly there. all your data is going to pull. Because when you remarry, that financial information is part of calculating the student aid index, which is why you're submitting financial aid forms, so the colleges can figure out your need-based eligibility from your SAI, which we've talked about in previous webinars. So both sets of data, you were married, it pulls just like there wasn't a divorce. Now, and this isn't the question that was asked, but if you were married in the prior year in 2022, but now you're separated or divorced, there's a conflict there between the current reality of your status and your status in 2022. In that situation, you will be entering your tax information manually. You don't have to remember that. It's going to prompt you. So don't worry about it, but don't think you did something wrong because all the income questions are showing up that I'm telling you most families won't see: adjusted gross income and how much tax did you pay. You will need to answer those. You will only answer them for the custodial parent. So that's how that's going to work. So let's talk about this. Who's the custodial parent? It's the parent that provided the most financial support on a year look back from when you're submitting the form. So if you're going to submit it this weekend, on whatever this weekend is, January 27th, it's a year look back. So a lot of families will come to us and say, you know, Peg and Matt, we're 50-50. Well, don't be 50-50. Figure out which parent or which household is more advantageous to submit the form, meaning the lower SAI, and have that parent offer a little bit more support to the student. That means pay for soccer, buy a pair of sneakers, whatever it is, so that if it's truly 50-50 to the penny, you're following the rules, you're being honest, and it's not. So that's how it works. So that other household does mean, like in the question in the Q&A, that other remarried two people, biological and new spouse, you're not submitting at all. So that's how you figure out who needs to get those FSA IDs and who needs to be doing the parent part of the FAFSA. So hopefully that's clear how that works, because it's really important. And this definition, if you have older kids, it's not about where the child spent the most nights anymore. It's all about financial support. So there's still gray area there. There's still room to plan and strategize, which is good. That's good for families. So now let's talk about the glitches and potentially how to avoid glitches. So the first thing is, and remember what I told you to do, complete the student section of the FAFSA, sign it. Then you're going to go over to that invite. If you're in Chrome, open up an incognito window. If you don't use Chrome, use another browser. Go to Firefox. Don't go and open another tab and say, oh, I'm going to pull up my email and click on it, because things could be cached. It could be still pulling from the student FAFSA. So that's just best practice. Just open up an incognito, get away from that window where you did the student FAFSA. So that's the first thing that we've learned. Follow that best practice flow that I've explained. Do the child, sign it. A lot of people like to do it and then they go jump over to theirs. And I helped a mom today and I got her through. I was like, she didn't sign. They didn't sign it. So I said, let's go to your child's, get all the information, ping your child, let's sign it. Child was in the house, got it signed, and then we were able to get over. So it didn't mess us up, but I was worried it was going to, because now both were going on at the same time. But it worked, so that's a good thing. But for some people, it's not working. So again, here's the flow. This is what you want to follow. What some people are getting, this is one of several error messages, but sometimes they're trying to finish it when they have both going and they have signed it and it says they haven't, or they can't sign it. It doesn't let them get to that signature part. It's locked them out. And then people are getting the confirmation email, because this is what happens when you finish. You get an email like this. And the example I have on here actually has an SAI calculated, But what people are doing is they're getting this message on the actual email that the student receives saying, estimated student aid index, we can't calculate it. It might give some reason. So you're sitting there frustrated because it's not letting you sign it, and it's telling you it can't give you an SAI because you didn't sign it. This is not your fault, as Matt has mentioned several times. Just take a deep breath. And I would go in and check now and again, because and the minute we know if they release, hey, we got to fix, and this is what families should do, we will broadcast it. We will be on the mountaintop screaming it. So stay in touch, follow us on social. You're on our email list, just watch us, because we will be sharing this the minute we know anything. But in the meantime, I would log in. I wouldn't stress out. Don't log in every hour, but maybe log in once a day and see, hey, is there a fix in there? Can I now sign it? Because we don't know how they're going to fix it, because they're trying to do it and they're not sharing. You will have a submission date. So keep this email. I know kids, my kids are 30. I have twins. Email's not their first mode of communication,
Hey,
but
baby, can you get the how you doing, honey? Can you get the phone to mommy, please?
hey, can you mute, Matt? There you go.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes here,
No.
family
Oh, you're good.
interaction.
You're good. You're good. No worries. We all have lives. We get it. Yeah, so keep this. This is super important because it shows that you submitted, even though there's error. So if a college ever comes back and says, hey, you didn't submit and the deadline's passed. By the way, I think colleges, don't quote me, but I think they're going to have a lot of grace this year because they know what's going on. They know how hard it is for families to get through this. So just keep that in mind. But anything that shows, hey, I did it. I did it just because there's no SAI. I did do it, and there's my submission date. So have your child forward you this email and tell them to be on top of emails and forward you anything, because it's important to keep a paper trail of all of this. Now let's talk about tips and tricks with these glitches. Oh, wait, sorry. So we're back to, I'm doing an animation tonight. I'm not used to this. So you follow the invitation steps. So this is what it looks like when you're in your child's FAFSA. Remember that second step in your child's FAFSA? And it tells you to invite the parent. See at the bottom here, send invite. This information needs to perfectly match how the parent set up the FSA ID. I was helping a mom and we tried everything, kept getting an error message here. And I said, are you sure? She said, yes, yes, yes. I put it this and this. Well, I had her log into her FSA ID account, and sure enough, she had C instead of her name spelled out for the middle name, which really isn't her middle name. She has a two name first name. And that the minute she fixed it, boom, it's sent. It's very persnickety. So that's why I said, if you haven't set up your FSA ID, take a picture. So you're good to go there, because that can cause an error. Also, this big arrow I have here, follow the instructions. Don't be so quick to put in both parents here, because that can cause problems. It says, they should have made this bigger, but it says, do not fill out this section unless otherwise instructed. So don't, it's one parent, married, felon, jointly, they're going to tell you when you need to invite more than one parent. Just follow the instructions, leave that blank if you're not told to fill it out. Because that's another place where we've seen errors, okay? So next one is family size. So when you get in there, and this is right from there, they're gonna ask you the family size. So make sure you check this box, because this is dependence. Make sure it's correct, because what we've found is that, say there's 3 dependents in the household besides the student, it might not say that here. It might say 0. It might be wrong. And it's important to change that and then hit continue. The reason why it's important is because the bigger the household, the better for your SAI, right? I'm not going to go into why, but it just will make your SAI not majorly lower, but it's tending, from all the FAFSAs we've been in, tending to err to not have the right number of dependents and having too little. You don't include the student. It's very clear what you put there. So watch that, okay? Okay, we got family size, and I saw this somewhere tonight. Somebody put this in about if you don't have a social security number. They had set up a system that you could get an FSA ID and password because you need it to sign the FAFSA this year. Like you can't get around it like it used to be, right? So they set up a system, and unfortunately it's not working. And so I took this, right, they have like a part of the FSA website where they have the different issues, and then they'll say the ones that are resolved. This one isn't resolved yet. And if you see here, the workaround, there's currently no workaround with a parent without a social security number. The student can start the application, their part, like we've talked about, but the parent will not be able to contribute the parent information. The student and parent will be able to complete this form online once the issue is resolved. So if that's the boat you're in, that's your family, you're gonna have to hold tight. And you know what? Just the colleges, just you're gonna have to let the college know if they don't figure this out until after college deadlines. Just be a strong advocate for yourself with the colleges and say, I could not get this done. So try not to stress about it. I know that's easier said than done, but that's where it is right now. And when we see that things are resolved, again, we will shout it from the mountaintops to help you. So how do you handle these glitches? I mean, there's all different types of glitches. First thing, and I've said this, log out, and you can log back in the same day or the next day, see if it's resolved. I've had a few situations where it was weird stuff, and I was like, there's nothing wrong. I'm working with the mom, whoever. And I said, try it the next day, and I get an email at work the next day. So they are madly working to resolve this stuff. One of our colleagues, Jara, who's been in more FAFSAs than probably any of the rest of us because she leads the team that's doing that for CAP. And she told me, hey, she was trying to get a workaround. She deleted a college. This was a student that was already in college, so it was just deleting the one school that it was being sent to. And then she added it back, and it allowed her to complete. So if you're stuck, you could go to that college section. Most of you are class of 2024, so you're going to have more than one school. Delete one and then add it back and see if that works. It seems to like reset the tech in a way, and it worked. So we got to try what we got to try, and that's an easy thing to try. Okay. You can always just hit that continue again. Something as simple as that has worked to get past it. If you can't invite the parent, and I already said this, make sure that that's your first thought. It's giving me an error on the invite page. Need to go check and make sure I'm perfectly matching my FSA ID. Also, when you log into your FSA ID, it'll tell you if it's, quote, matched, which means Social Security Administration has signed off on it. If it's not matched yet because you just did it recently, they haven't had time to process it, that could be an issue too. And you can see that when you log into your FSA ID. I have this on here. Matt and I don't recommend you do this. One, you might not be able to get through anyways. And two, when I've done this way before this through the years, I finally gave up because I realized I was kind of educating the person I was talking to even have them understand the question I was asking. That doesn't mean that now they should be well versed on this stuff, but I don't know that they're going to be able to help you fix your problem. And you're probably going to be on hold. I've heard people be on hold and then they're just disconnected, because they just can't even keep them on hold, right? The last thing, and if you're resorting to this, you might want to let us support you, which Matt's going to talk about at the end of the webinar, but you can delete the whole form. This is where it is. There's this FAFSA menu. You hit the 3 dots and you can delete the form and start all over. No guarantees that's going to fix it, but then you're deleting the whole form. So I don't know if I would do that without having a professional helping you to say, yeah, that's what you should do, because it's a pretty extreme extreme solution. So you're all done, and you've done all you can do with the FAFSA. So what's next here? Keep a confirmation email with a process date, even if it's not completed, even if you've got errors. Screenshot the errors, paste them. I always paste them into a PowerPoint slide. You can turn it into a PDF. You can crop it, whatever, so that you're kind of memorializing what's going on. Look at the college financial aid form deadlines on the college's website, so you're in tune to what they're saying. If you're super stressed and a deadline is right then, you can call them, talk to them, document who you talk to. A lot of the colleges are saying, we get it. These deadlines are not firm this year, but if my kids were still in the space, I'd be documenting who I talk to and making sure they know what they're talking about. And as I said earlier, make sure you got to read your kids the riot act. They've got to forward emails to you, because if they don't look at their email and there's stuff sitting there that's important for you to know, that's going to cause even more stress. Okay. The timeline, I've kind of already hit this, but Matt mentioned this at the beginning. The person put in the Q&A. Now they're saying end of February. I'm a little suspect on that, especially the source, and that could be true. And they just were told not to announce that, but the person answered the question. But we think it's definitely going to be delayed, because somebody put in the Q&A, well, the 31st is next week. It's less than a week now. I think it's going to be delayed. And I'll jump to the bottom bullet to explain another snafu. And you've probably seen this, and Matt and I have done some social posts on this that came out this week, that, the Department of Ed made an error, and the income protection allowance, which basically it's an allowance that decreases the income that goes into the SAI calculation. So it lowers, the higher that number is, the lower your SAI, right? Because less income is being calculated to get your number. They did not put in an inflation factor, and a few other economic things that are supposed to go in there were supposed to go up, and inflation was supposed to affect it. And they didn't do it, and they were going to just wait until the 25-26 school year. But I think they got a lot of what from different entities, so they are now going to fix it, which is good for all of you. That's a huge positive. The kind of challenge of it is this could further delay things, because they're going to have to put that fix in place on top of the tech glitches. So it's kind of a big crazy mess, right? And that's a nice way to say it. So just keep that in mind about when it's going to get sent to the colleges, because the colleges need this information so they can do financial aid award packages. Some of you might have already gotten some because you have kids at CSS schools and they're backing into the whole package, and that's another story. The summary that you get, that's not going to be available till end of January, and probably delayed as well. So that's when you log into your child's FAFSA and do it. We already went through all this. Each college will set their own deadline, so check their websites and try and get it in before the earliest deadline if you can, if you can. And that's a big if. All right, I will turn this back over to you, Matt.
All right, Peggy, kind of a exciting night in the Carpenter household. I forgot my charger. Okay.
You won the lottery? Did you win the lottery?
No, I forgot my charger. 3% battery left here. My wife driving over the office now, but my daughter's home, so my sister had to drive over to our house to watch Emma.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm probably gonna go dark here, but I'll be back on within a couple minutes. I trust you can handle that for a little bit.
I'm good. I'm good.
So guys, okay, you think you're stressed out there, everybody? You think
Look at what Matt's going through, everybody.
I mean, come on. So now I'm all elevated, so I'll see if I can get regulated again here. So I don't know. It seems like fitting, right? It seems fitting, but
yeah, it fits. Actually, you're right. It's perfect.
You know what I'm gonna do, Peggy? My wife is here. I'm gonna sprint downstairs.
Yeah. So let me hit this. Yeah. I'll keep rolling here. Okay, guys. So just a little bit, and thank you I love the emojis. So if you're an emoji person, let them rip. I love it. It's nice, and we feel like we're actually talking to all of you. So not going to hit all of these. Our groupies have heard all this, right? But key thing, I do want to hit bullet 6, very important. And I answered a question on this. I want to make sure everybody knows when you're doing your net worth of investments, if you have 529s and say you have several kids and you're the owner as the parent and the student is a beneficiary, that's how it's almost always set up unless grandma and grandpa are owners. If grandma and grandpa are owners of 529s, they never end up on the form at all. If the parent is the owner and you have 3 different ones for your 3 kids, only include the balance for your child that you're doing the FAFSA for. This is a change for the better, excuse me, for all of you. Okay. So only if you have 3 of them and there's 30,000 each, you're putting 30,000 in there as part of your net worth of investments, not 90,000. That's important because that'll raise your SAI the more assets you have. Okay. So that's a key one. If you're a business owner, in the asset section, it's going to ask you for the value of your business. We strongly recommend that you get some support from us on that. And Matt's going to talk about that in a few minutes. I just was on a meeting today with the woman. Both the parents are self-employed. She's like, can you help us? What is the value for our business? I mean, because most people are going to overestimate because they're going to think it's wrong to put a low number. And that's not necessarily the case. And again, a high business number is going to raise your SAI. So please talk to us if you fall in that camp. It's going to be well worth spending the money to talk to us to make sure you have that dialed in. The divorced and separated, I think we hit that pretty effectively. We're going to talk about the multiples. There is a question on the FAFSA that asks how many kids are in college. So the colleges are going to know if you already have a kid in college or you're going to have 2 coming up. Hold tight. Matt's going to talk on this because even though it's not going to be taken into account when that SAI gets calculated, you can absolutely appeal. And that's another place where we can come in and really support you. So you put in a strong appeal, which could dramatically change your SAI. So keep that in mind. Okay.
Did I set a record, Peggy?
Are you all plugged in or do you want me to keep rocking and rolling?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you for
Sure. Absolutely.
takes a village, Peggy. It takes a village.
Yep. God bless Rosie, your wife. That's all I got to say.
It was your girl, my sister, ended up dropping the
And Laura.
all right. Thanks for bearing with me, everybody. So I mean, to Peg's point here, right? This is one of the drastic negative changes this year, right? This FAFSA rule where now the formula is no longer accounting for families that have more than 1 kid at college at once. But I guess where there's some silver lining here, we're a little bit optimistic, is that colleges have the ability to make the decision here. They can ultimately make the call. They will have this information. So it's going to be a huge appeal opportunity. So this is one of these ones where we're already getting our we're already getting ready to fight these fights. And we're feeling optimistic. And so far, so good, quite frankly, with our ED acceptances to date. So, but it's important that we flag it. Okay, so along these lines, guys, and this is, I think, one of the funnest parts of the process from where we sit. This is one of my favorite things to do. We're not gonna get into the nitty gritty of this tonight. We do hour plus presentations just all about this right now. What are we doing? We're negotiating. We are negotiating with colleges to get more money. You can't use that word. Okay. It's important that you use the word appeal. But the takeaway, the message here is that once you get these offers, okay, your full financial aid award letters that include scholarships and need-based aid, you want to have a mindset that you're not going to take that first offer. But there is a method to the madness, and it is a very nuanced, kind of quirky way of best practices, right, for how to go back to these schools and get more money. So the get here tonight is to just let you know that that's a thing, but certainly it's something we pride ourselves on, right? So for you ED folks that have gotten an award and you feel like, geez, I don't know, this feels like I can do better, we're not jumping for joy over here. book some time with us. That's our sweet spot. We're having a ton of success, as we always do. We're not surprised, but we've had some great victories so far in the early stages of this process. Okay, so the next step, again, same thing. We're not going to belabor it, but we did get a bunch of questions tonight. What about scholarships? What about private scholarships? We're done with admissions. We're done, our CSS profile, and hopefully our FAFSA is almost off. Now, where else can we go get some money? So private scholarships, and we'll show you how to find this on our platform in a minute here. But the first thing, the biggest pile of money when it comes to scholarships are from the colleges themselves. So that's where we want to focus our efforts first, right? Did we squeeze as much as possible out of these colleges' admissions offices? If we didn't get any, can we appeal for some? If we got some, can we appeal for more? Right? Now, after we know we've exhausted everything from the colleges themselves, and we want to go look outside the schools, the first place we start is local. On average, 30% of high school seniors will apply for their local scholarships. And this money has to be given away each year, right? The Rotary Club and the fire department and the sports boosters, they have to give this money away each year. So you're playing in a pool that has the best odds. So paint the town red locally. And then after that, we're going to look at the state level and then nationally. And I'll show you how to do that right now. Peggy, if I could share my screen here. So just to give you a quick tour, maybe you can put this link in here again, Peg, for those that haven't set up their account. I know most of you already have, but a lot of people are saying, well, what is my SAI? It didn't come with the FAFSA. You can find out what that's going to look like right here. I had another question. Somebody said, well, I have a $15,000 SAI. Does that mean I won't get aid? Not necessarily. At plenty of schools you will. Maybe not at your in-state schools, but anyways, any college you're curious about, enter it in here, and we're going to tell you exactly how much it's going to, or not down to $1. We're going to give you a very good idea of what you can expect from that college, for better or for worse. Okay. And again, when we go to talk about scholarships, if I click into any school, it's going to show me every single scholarship that the college offers, qualifications for each, and then how much we're expecting you to get. So for example, for this student at UMass, they're going to get $3,000, but we see we're pretty close to some of these other scholarships that are, $6,500 or and up. So when we're appealing, we might say, hey, what can we do to get up to that next level? And this is a great frame of reference in your platform here. But private scholarships, right? So first we're looking locally, and then this is where to find scholarships on the national level. And how I coach this is that after you look in your community, then you want to look in your state, right? So I'm a Massachusetts resident. And so right away, I see 3 pages of scholarships that are just for Massachusetts residents. And I can kind of poke around and see, well, which ones are relevant to me and my family. So Professional Women's Chamber of Commerce, if I'm a female and I'm a Mass resident, well, that would make sense. I'm thinking about being a CPA. Well, here's a scholarship as a Mass resident for students thinking about becoming CPAs, but you get the idea here. And then when I go to think about looking nationally, I like to check the major first, right? So if I know I want to get into business, for example, here's 7 pages of scholarships just for business majors, right? And maybe I'm Jewish, right? So here's a particular scholarship for those that are Jewish and are going to pursue business in college. And again, you guys kind of get the idea here, but when we look on the national level, this is how to be efficient, right? Which of these are somewhat aligned with some of the things that are unique to me. And obviously you can see, you can put in some different things here, ethnicity and religion and things of the sort. So that's how to be kind of smart. And again, peeking around the corner, you heard us talking about the appeal part of the process. Once you get accepted, so for those of you that have got your ED acceptance, you're going to upload it into the platform here. We're going to translate it for you, but then we're going to tell you, did you get a good deal? Is this a fair offer from this institution? What is your likelihood for appealing successfully? Even if it is a fair offer, it doesn't mean we're not going to appeal or encourage you to appeal, but it's again a great, we're playing watchdog a little bit with these colleges. I always pick on Boston College in my backyard because traditionally they under award families $10,000 on average in need-based aid, and we want to call them on that, and we want to get that additional $10,000. So, hopefully that's helpful here, and you're making sure that you're being smart and efficient when you go to shop for private scholarships, which is, again, just kind of teasing the next step here. And we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about that in February. That's going to be like we mentioned at the beginning. It's kind of our last FAFSA focused presentation, or who knows, Peggy, right? Who knows? We might we
Who
probably
knows? We might have to whip up another one because, who knows what's going to happen with the FAFSA.
That's right.
Nobody really knows. But yeah, that's now, as I mentioned a few times, and I've talked to some people in the Q&A, we're here to support you. And really, Matt and I always say, when we do these webinars, if you get to the end and you don't keep this going. Now, this is a unique situation because you're in the middle of the FAFSA, you got to finish it. You're not in a situation to go, like I always say, go put it on the pile and ignore it. You got to deal with this. Some of you can't do anything because there's glitches and you're learning, hey, I can do my best and now I just have to wait. But we're here to support you if you need help with this. And so, Matt, I'll let you want to share your screen and talk about that?
Yeah. So, right. I would just echo what Peg shared, but we kind of, fair or not, bucket folks into two kind of broad categories. Like, you're a DIYer or you're not, right? And if you're a DIYer, my firm recommendation is, I don't really care who you are right now, especially this year. Book an hour with one of us. It doesn't have to be me or Peg. We have a whole team of unbelievable experts. You're going to be in great hands. And I think Peg and I don't think either of us have availability till later in February, I think. But you can meet with the next available. You can meet with someone tomorrow for an hour. And all you need to do is, in your MyCap accounts, right? If you're in our free version, you just hit upgrade up here. Instead of saying talk to an expert, it'll say upgrade. You choose the premium plus expert option. Okay. And then we have a coupon code that's going to give you 20% off. Okay. So use FAFSA 20. This expires at midnight tonight, right? For those of you that follow us, we always take care of our live audiences. So we'll follow up tomorrow with everybody that couldn't make it, but for our live audiences, this will be a unique offer. At a minimum, guys, don't overthink it. Do that. Let us review your FAFSA. Let us help you get it across the finish line. Let us review your CSS profile. Our colleague, JP Schmidt, he was the former director of financial aid at University of Southern California. His words, 7 out of 10 families make a mistake on the FAFSA and or the CSS profile that costs them money. Don't be one of those. Let us get eyes on this. Okay. You will get a return on that investment. In addition to the hour you have access to you're in the club for a year. Okay. You are in the club, have premium access to our software and our membership for a year. Okay. So, and you can use that hour at any time. It doesn't have to be right now. Okay. That's my firm recommendation. Please do not overthink that one. That'll be the wisest money you spend on college. If you're not a DIYer, if you're someone going, I'm going to need more than that, I can't even look at these forms. Maybe you're an underclassman, or you're somebody that just is having a real rough go at these forms, we can do them for you. Okay. We can do the CSS profile. If you've already submitted, we'll review it and make any corrections. Same with the FAFSA. Okay. So obviously it's a bigger investment because we're getting hands-on. We're going to collect all your information, tax returns, etc. It's like having a really great CPA, not just to complete the forms, but the strategy, right? How you present your situation to these colleges is going to dictate how much financial aid you get or you don't get. Okay. So that's kind of somebody that's a DIYer that is just freaked out about these forms and want to make sure you nail that. We have that. And then through this landing page, you can just get started right here, right? I think we have 3 of these left. If you have any February 1st deadlines, certainly. Beyond that, we can probably get you in, but again, take advantage of that deal tonight if you know you want it and you don't have a February 1st deadline, but we can only do 3 more with the February 1st deadline. So you got to do that tonight if you want it. And this is our full, what we call Wake Me Up When It's Over package. We're still having class 2024 families hire us for this that are a little bit later. Usually this is when juniors and underclassmen, juniors and sophomores are hiring us for this. But this is where you get have a one-on-one relationship with one of our experts from now until your student moves into the dorm. Okay, and there's a couple of major pieces of it. Obviously, right away we just collect your information, we strategize, and say, okay, what can we do today to maximize our discounts here, right? Whether that's need-based aid, whether it's scholarships, whether it's making sure that we're applying to competing colleges. Then we complete the forms for you, right? We do the FAFSA, we do the CSS profile. If it's a school like Princeton that has their own institutional forms, we do all of those for you. And then once we get the offers, that's when we're going to be leading the charge on this appeal negotiating front, right? And you don't just have the experience of the expert that you're working with, but our whole team, right? Peg knows we had a big, I don't know, there was 12 of us on the call today from experts all over the country, financial aid directors from all over the country, and we're all collaborating together on the best way to go back to Chicago for this specific appeal, right? And that's kind of the power of the team that we have behind the experts. And then finally, it's paying the bill, right? So for a lot of you, you might have, it's no problem to get through all this stuff, but how am I going to pay the bill? If I have some resources, should I use the 529 first, or grandparents contributions, or UGMAs? A lot of you are going to have to borrow. I got some questions around loans already. Should it be the plus loan? Should it be Sally Mae? Should my kids borrow? How much? Bless you, Peggy. So we're gonna make firm recommendations on that as well. And again, for tonight only, obviously this is a bigger leap. This investment is not for everybody, but that's a very, very steep discount for us. Okay, $800 off if you buy tonight. I'll tell you this: if this seems like the right fit for you, but it just maybe you're new to our environment, but it seems like too big of a leap, book it tonight, pay for it tonight right through here, take advantage of the discount. You can have a gut check call with me or somebody on our team tomorrow or beginning of next week. And after talking with us one-on-one, having us learn a little bit more about your situation, if you feel like, you know what, it's not a good fit, 100% refund, we'll give you your money back, send you on your way. No questions asked. But if you're thinking like, yes, that's me, get in here, pay for it tonight, and we can do a gut check call. Just write into support@collegeaidpro.com, and we'll get you on the phone tomorrow. But our big takeaway, like Peg said at the top, do something, guys. This isn't nobody likes to spend money, especially when you're looking at $90,000 colleges. Let us help you out here. You're going to get a return on the investment. We are going to help you get through this frustrating process. You're not going to have to wait on hold or talk to people that are doing their very best, but they're not, they haven't been doing this for their whole careers, type of deal. So yeah, I think that's it. I mean, anything for you to layer on there, Peggy?
Nope. It's just more, we're here to support you, whatever resonates with you, whatever's going to relieve your stress, to have us, on your team. That's the route you should go. We really try and create our offerings around you. We actually have people on our team that are current parents. Feel sorry for them. They're paying those bills that I remember paying, and they're actually wonderful because we tap them a lot. Like, what do parents want to know about? How can we support? And so we create these very intentionally. And I didn't say this at the beginning, but it's just understanding how things work. And if you don't have time to understand it, then let us be your guide, so you don't have to take that mental step to understand all this stuff and own it. Like Matt said, if you're not a DIYer in this space, just let us do it. And some of the questions, and as Matt said, we're just not, I was going Mach 10 and so is he. We're just not going to get to all of them, but some of them are clear that some of you don't understand all the nuances. And I'm not saying that as a criticism at all. It's a lot to understand, right? I don't understand why my will is set up the way it is. I've forgotten since my attorney explained it, right? It's a lot. So, if you feel like you're behind and it's causing a lot of stress, just leverage us. That's what we're here for. And, I remember waving goodbye to my kids when I was pulling away with each of them within a week of each other. And it goes by so quickly this year, and you have moments when you want to kill them. And I'm speaking from personal experience. And then moments when you're sitting in bed like kind of sobbing, like, hey, they're not going to be around next year at this time. So you want to enjoy that, right? So if it's helpful to let us, walk alongside you in some capacity, like Matt talked about, just make it happen, right? We're offering you a great discount. You're here live, just use it. I'm sure Matt said, if you want to book an hour, you don't have to book the meeting right now. If you're having FAFSA issues, you're probably going to want to book the meeting right now. But if you're a go-getter and you're a class of 2025, might be other things that'll help you and it's not as time sensitive to book a meeting. So yeah, just keep moving forward. That's my advice, more parent to parent than professional, because unfortunately you're not done when you get through the FAFSA saga, right? Like Matt said, we got thinking about private scholarships, thinking about appealing, and then all right, now I have my short list. How am I going to pay for all these, and how am I going to make my decision? Or you made your decision, and now I got 529s. I got grandma. What about these loans? Should I take them? Should I wait? It's just really until you're waving goodbye. There's just a lot of steps. So.
Well said, Peggy. It's
As
important.
usual, I babbled on a little too long when you gave me
I
that.
think it's important to hear, right? It resonates with me too. We can't tell each other enough. And we kind of forgot. I think we forgot to like do that tonight. So thank you for
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. So
And
um,
Peggy, look at you got your emojis, buddy.
I love the emojis, and I know you guys are out there, but when you see the emojis, it just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy.
gives you
So
the warm
thank you for
fuzzy.
that.
Yes. All right, Peggy. Well, great job as always. And maybe, who knows, maybe our last FAFSA of certainly the last FAFSA presentation of the month, I think. But
Yeah, I think we can fairly accurately say that.
something's telling me if this thing doesn't get fixed soon, we're doing another one or a couple in February. Is some
Yeah. I
sense.
hear you. I hear you.
All right. Well, thank you,
All right,
everybody. Hang
everybody,
in
have a
there. Hang
great
in there.
night.
Yeah, we're gonna get through this.
All right, take care, everybody.